A hydrogen-powered bus drives through Bridgend, 20 miles west of Cardiff. It's a test model. The local council doesn't yet use hydrogen buses. Tomoki Nishino hopes they will, while granting his company, the Japanese industrial giant Marubeni, permission to build a new hydrogen production plant here in Bridgend.
So we are building this solar and onshore wind assets near Bridgend, and try to connect the green power as much directly to the electrolyzer as possible. So the people in Bridgend can proudly say this is as green as you can get the hydrogen.
Tomoki explains hydrogen is produced via electrolysis, splitting atoms from water. Marubeni wants to power that electrolysis by building wind and solar facilities, creating zero-carbon green hydrogen. Tomoki says Marubeni's plant could drive industry across South Wales. But hydrogen is highly explosive, and many Bridgend locals worry such a plant would be unsafe. Tomoki insists his hydrogen project will bring wider benefits to Bridgend. He says millions of gallons of hot water, a byproduct of electrolysis, could be piped to this local swimming pool to help with heating.
This
Bridgend school, he says, could also get cost-effective heat from the plant. There is local support for net zero clean energy policies, and Bridgend's Labour-led council has allocated this site for Tomoki's hydrogen plant, although the facility's yet to get full planning permission. Building and operating the new plant would create over 100 local jobs, says Tomoki, and this is what it might look like. But many locals say the site's too close to other businesses and houses, given the risks of a hydrogen explosion. Nemian, an environmental technology manufacturer, is less than 100 yards away.
There are a plethora of issues with the proposal in terms of utility supply for water, for electricity, in terms of oxygen being vented out as a byproduct from the electrolysis of hydrogen.
Which makes for a bigger fire hazard.
That does increase the fire hazard considerably. It reduces the required energy to cause ignition and therefore increases the likelihood of an explosion.
There are now regular anti-high-bond protests outside Bridgend's council offices. And at this cafe near the high-bond site, locals are concerned.
Our house was within the blast range, and it's not like a filling station, it's more like a refinery.
What concerns me is the lack of interest that the councillors have shown to the planning application, and they haven't looked at the details.
Some of Bridgend's independent councillors are also opposed.
Concerns with me about the lack of scrutiny, the lack of transparency, the incompleteness and incorrectness and misinformation from planning policy documents. So what I really think needs to be done now is this development needs to be brought back into the Welsh Government to make a decision.
Bridgend Council's due to make a decision this autumn. Tomoki says Marubeni always puts safety first. The UK has just a handful of hydrogen plants, but dozens more are planned. Whether or not they're built may depend on what happens to this scrap of land in South Wales. Liam Halligan, GB News, in Bridgend.